Man-yee was born in 1976 in Hong Kong. Abandoned by her family at an early age, she was raised in a girls' home and orphanage. By her teenage years, she had fallen into drug addiction and, without family or resources, began working as a sex worker and nightclub hostess to survive. She married later in her early 20s and had a son, but she remained deeply entrenched in poverty and drug dependency. Despite some efforts to improve her situation, including maintaining legal work and returning borrowed money, she remained vulnerable and exposed to dangerous influences in her environment. In early 1999, Fan came into contact with Chan Man-lok, a 34-year-old man with known affiliations to the triads, Hong Kong's organized crime syndicates. Chan was involved in drug trafficking, loan sharking, and prostitution. He was well known in the underworld, particularly around the Tsim Shat Tsui district. He met Fan through the sex trade. At some point, Fan allegedly stole HKN 4,000, approximately $500 USD from him. She eventually returned the money along with interest, but Chan was not appeased. He viewed the theft as a serious offense to his status and reputation within the criminal hierarchy. Chan decided to punish her in a way that would serve both as personal revenge and as a message to others. In March 1999, Chan enlisted two men to help him, 27-year-old Leung Shing-cho and his 21-year-old younger brother Leung Wai-lun. Both were minor triad affiliates and did whatever Chan told them. Alongside them was a 14-year-old girl, known publicly only as Ah Fong due to her age at the time. She was Chan's girlfriend and had run away from home. Chan used his influence and manipulation to involve her in the coming events. Fan was abducted and brought to an apartment on the third floor of 31 Granville Road in Kowloon. What followed was over a month of systematic torture and dehumanization that would later become one of the most horrific crimes in Hong Kong's history. Fan was imprisoned in the small apartment, tied up and subjected to daily abuse. The three men beat her with metal rods, kitchen utensils, and their bare fists. They suspended her from the ceiling by her wrists or ankles and burned her body with melted candle wax. They forced her to ingest human feces and urine. They laughed as they tortured her, turning her suffering into a form of entertainment. At times they played video games while ignoring her screams. Other times they forced Ah Fong to take part, either by watching or participating in minor acts of abuse. She later told investigators that she had been too terrified to disobey, and that she was haunted by dreams and hallucinations of Fan's ghost. Fan was barely fed and allowed no medical treatment. Her injuries became infected, and she grew weaker by the day. She lost significant weight, her face swollen beyond recognition, her limbs covered in burns and bruises. In April 1999, after about a month of captivity, Fan succumbed to her injuries. The exact cause of death is uncertain, likely a combination of untreated infections, malnutrition, and internal injuries, but the prolonged torture she endured left her body in a state of complete systemic failure. The three men discovered she was dead and decided to dispose of her body in a way that would avoid identification. They dismembered her corpse. Her internal organs were boiled on the stove to remove tissue and eliminate smell. Her body parts were disposed of in various ways, some flushed down the toilet, others discarded in garbage. Her skull was boiled clean and later concealed inside a large Hello Kitty mermaid doll, which remained in the apartment. The macabre combination of childlike innocence and unimaginable horror became the defining image of the case. Weeks passed. No one knew what had happened to Fan. Her disappearance went mostly unnoticed. She had few friends, little family, and no resources. Eventually, it was Ah Fong who brought the crime to light. Tormented by what she had seen and believing she was being haunted, she went to the police and confessed everything she knew. She told detectives that she couldn't sleep, that she heard Fan's cries, and that she saw her in her dreams. Her confession led police to the apartment. When police arrived at the Granville Road flat, they were greeted by a chilling sight. The apartment was filthy, with signs of confinement, bloodstains, and decay. They discovered a large Hello Kitty doll that had been crudely sewn together. Inside the doll, they found the skull of Man-yee. Other forensic evidence, including teeth, organ tissue, and hair, was found throughout the apartment, confirming Ah Fong's story. The condition of the remains and the filth of the apartment underscored the cruelty of the crime. All three men were arrested and charged with murder, false imprisonment, and preventing lawful burial. The case went to trial in late 2000 at Hong Kong's High Court. Due to the nature of the evidence, Fan's death occurring sometime during captivity without a direct witness to the moment of death, the prosecution had difficulty proving intent to kill. The defense claimed Fan had died of a drug overdose and that the abuse, while undeniable, had not been meant to kill her. The prosecution argued that the level and duration of torture clearly demonstrated a depraved indifference to human life. Ah Fong testified against the three men. Due to her age and cooperation, she was not charged and was granted immunity. Her testimony was crucial in reconstructing the timeline and confirming the method of abuse. The jury, however, failed to reach a unanimous verdict on the charge of murder. In the end, the three men were convicted of manslaughter and unlawful imprisonment. They were each sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 20 years. The case stunned Hong Kong and made headlines around the world. The Hello Kitty element turned the story into a grotesque headline, blending the innocence of a children's character with the reality of a gruesome murder. Many criticized the media for sensationalizing the story, but others saw the symbolism as a reflection of the loss of humanity in urban decay. The building where the crime took place gained a reputation as haunted, and for years afterward, tenants refused to live in the flat. Real estate agents struggled to lease it. Eventually, the entire building was renovated and renamed in an attempt to erase the association. Ah Fong disappeared from the public eye after the trial. She was reportedly placed under witness protection. Her testimony, though pivotal, came at great personal cost. She was believed to suffer ongoing psychological trauma from the events she witnessed and participated in. Fan Man-yee's life and death highlighted the vulnerabilities faced by marginalized women in society. Abandoned as a child, caught in the cycle of addiction and poverty, and ultimately brutalized by those who took advantage of her desperation, her story is remembered as both a horrific crime and a social tragedy.